Hey everyone. It's been a couple months, 2.5 months since you've probably seen me. If you didn't know, I moved in. I just bought a house and I moved into it a couple months back. So that's the reason for the inactivity, and that's also the reason there's going to be more inactivity. For those of you who um, are here for either my live simulation performance videos or my experience videos or both. Um, the live videos definitely are probably done. I just don't have the capacity inside this property to make videos like that. I mean, I could probably pull it off in the basement on a technicality. As far as the experience videos go, I technically could make them if I wanted to. It's just presently I don't have much incentive to. Presently, I'm really busy with my kid, her schooling, and actually I'm really busy around the house. So it's really difficult for me to make the content that I was making before. And on top of all that, YouTube is constantly attacking my channel. Uh, it YouTube deleted my channel like entirely a couple months back. They just one day said your channel's gone, you can't get it back, and I had to really get under YouTube's skin to check to see if it was justified, and of course they admitted it wasn't, and my channel was put back up. On between that, they have twice taken my monetization status away. And every time they do that, I have to wait 30 days to reapply for it. The first time my application was accepted, but then they hit me with it again. And so I had to wait another 30 days to reapply. This time they rejected my application. But so YouTube doesn't like me, I guess. So that's another problem. So there's just not much incentive for me to make content like I was prior, is what I'm getting at here. So with the channel status update out of the way, let's get to what I really want to focus on in this video, and that is the MJ Impersonator show that I went to on Saturday, October 30th. This performer's name was Santana Jackson. He has a Las Vegas gig that he performs at regularly, and I'm guessing, judging from the introduction of the show from a St. Louis radio DJ, the radio DJ went to his Vegas gig, I'm assuming, and was starstruck by it, and so they invited him down to our state to do a show, and he accepted. Now, first things first, let's be real about this. The introduction this radio station gave him was so exaggerated, it was kind of pathetic. I took kind of an insult to them calling him the best there is, because I've even seen him say that there's no such thing, which I agree with, but also because I've actually went and seen some videos from his Vegas shows, just, prior to going to this one. I wasn't particularly impressed with the footage I saw. I was actually kind of regretting my purchase for a little bit, because in the videos that I've seen, his performances seem to be lazy. Like one of the videos he was performing Billie Jean. In Billie Jean, Michael always throws his fedora hat at the beginning. He didn't do that. He just took the hat off his head and placed it on the stage. Michael tends to do a lot of freestyle in the verses and the bridge and the chorus. He didn't do much of that. He did do some freestyle breakdancing, towards the end, like you should, but for the most part of the track, he either just stood there or he went from one side of the stage to the next, just walking. So I just looked at that performance and thought, is this what he's going to do the whole show? So I tried my best not to make that my default mindset, but I just knew I may have to watch out for that. Now, I'm pleased to say that when Santana Jackson started, the track that he started the show with was Can You Feel It? And he put a lot of energy into that track. So when I saw that, I thought, okay, if he keeps this up, I may actually enjoy the show. Then the second track he did was Want to Be Starting Something. He put a lot of energy into that performance as well. So I was thinking, okay, this might be okay after all. It was after those first two tracks that I started to see not only a decline in the energy he put into the performances, but also a decline in the variety of how he maneuvered the stage and whatnot. Now, I can admit, because the vast majority of the time when he wasn't maneuvering, he was interacting with the audience physically. He would either, touch, people's hands at the edge of the stage, or he would get off the stage and walk into the audience. That's cool. That's fine. It's the instances where he was either just walking back and forth in songs that are very rhythmic, that kind of require more than a simple left and right travel, point A to point B type of maneuver, because it makes you question why the track is included in the first place if that's all there is for him to do. And I found myself having that question quite a few times after those first two tracks. Why did he include these tracks? Like, he had Remember the Time in there. Now, his backup crew did a routine, but he didn't. Another criticism I have is a lot of Michael's signature moves, the moonwalk and the side glide, he did way too frequently. I think maybe he did 10 or 11, maybe 12 tracks total in a 2-hour duration. And I think in maybe 60 to 70% of the tracks, he moonwalked at least one time. And he side glided at least one time. The reason I have criticism against this is because as signature moves, and those are signature moves, they're best reserved for when the audience is either expecting them for specific tracks, or if you're going to utilize them out of the ordinary, it shouldn't be so frequently, because now the performance of one track is not unique to the rest of them. He did these moves so frequently that most of the tracks that he performed were not unique from one another, because the signature moves were constantly utilized for them. And I just thought I think that did more bad than good, just from my perspective. From the audience perspective, of course, from everyone else's perspective, they didn't seem to care very much. And I guess that's what matters. I think my problem is I went in as a performer and not as a spectator, so maybe it's all on me. Now, one surprise he had was that he had a Janet Jackson impersonator accommodate him. I'm not quite sure what to say on her, because I don't think she did enough for me to have an opinion. The only thing I can really have an opinion on is the fact that is her wardrobe. She seemed to wear a wardrobe that was at least twice her size. Like, it was way too big for her. her pants, her trousers specifically, were way too big for her. I don't know what she was thinking in wearing them, because it didn't help her performance, especially considering that she wasn't dancing anyways, which is strange for a Janet Jackson impersonator, as far as I'm concerned. Um, it just looks strange. But again, she performed for maybe 5 minutes, so it's not enough for me to really give a good assessment on. I just hope if she does have her own gig, like Santana does, that she does more than what she did there. Because if that was his way of giving her a spotlight when she wouldn't normally have one, I personally don't think she utilized it properly, and she definitely needs to assess her wardrobe. Definitely needs to do that at least, because what she wore did not do her any good whatsoever. So, with everything I just said, if I were to score the Santana Jackson show that I saw, I would give it a 6 out of 10. 6 to a 6.5. Specifically because there was too much dependency on the side glide and the moonwalk. Way too much dependency on those and way too many songs. And there were some songs I questioned why they were in his set list in the first place for this reason. But I will give him credit on one thing. He put You Rock My World into his show. Now you're probably thinking, so what? That's the thing. You Rock My World, as far as I'm concerned, is vastly underappreciated, even in the MJ lore, even especially in the MJ impersonator lore. I think for him to actually have given that track enough merit to include it in his set list is very courageous for an impersonator. And I can't give him enough credit for doing that. That took a lot of bravery. That alone makes him unique among the other impersonators, because I've never seen anyone else utilize that track in a set list. Never seen it. So kudos to Santana for giving the Invincible album some love in his show. I think it's a vastly underappreciated album, and it more than deserves some sort of spotlight in an MJ show. Now, one of the things that this this particular show was advertising were contests. They had an MJ lookalike contest, and they had a Billie Jean dance contest. Now, I planned to enter the Billie Jean contest, and I technically did enter it. But I think this is probably not on Santana Jackson's fault. This is probably not his fault. If I had to guess, this was probably the radio station's fault that brought him out here. I think there may have been 25 of us in line to do this contest. My assumption was they were going to let anyone who entered individually do maybe a minute or two of the song, and then they go on to the next one, and then, the audience votes by cheering or jeering, That's not what happened here. They apparently didn't anticipate as many people, volunteering to participate in this contest. That's mistake number one. This is a venue that, from my research, can house maybe 3,000 people. It's a small venue, but 3,000 people, to say that you weren't going to expect more than 15 people, that's where they capped us off at, was 15. And I think I was maybe the 20th in line. To say that out of 3,000 people that can fill that venue, you're not going to expect more than 15 people to sign up for a dance contest. We had all the participants perform simultaneously on the stage at the same time. How can you call this a contest? You can't watch all these people who are probably doing their own interpretation of the song individually. you can't watch that all simultaneously and make a concerted judgment on who you think is a winner and who isn't a winner. This is what I would have done. I would have made the contest a VIP exclusive thing. You know, VIP tickets cost a lot more. So generally, theoretically, you would have fewer people buying those tickets. So VIP access, which by the way, their VIP benefits weren't very good. I bought VIP tickets, and I don't think it was justified. They should have made these contests a VIP exclusive thing. They would have had probably the expected amount of participants, if not less. It would have been easier to arrange and organize, and it would have given them time to plan out better when they were going to have these contests. The MJ lookalike contest took maybe 4 minutes, give or take, and the Billie Jean contest, I think they played maybe 2 minutes of the song, and all the participants performed at the same time. It was so stupid. So I was angry at first that I wasn't allowed to be in the contest for that reason, but when I saw how they handled the contest, I realized I was better off. So that's why there's no footage of me in this contest uploaded like I said there would be, because I was not allowed in. So anyways, that's my thoughts on the show. That's my thoughts on how certain things were handled. And would I recommend my audience see Santana Jackson in Vegas, or if he's invited elsewhere to perform like he was here? Yeah, I would recommend seeing him, as long as you don't go in with a performer's mindset like I do. And I think that's my problem when I see these impersonators, is I go in with the mindset of a performer, because I'm a performer myself, and I should be going in just as a spectator. Except his frequent usage of MJ's signature moves in most of his tracks. I stand behind every word I said about that. So now we're going to get to the closing section of this video, and that is what impressions these shows have left me, from the Michael Knight show and from Santana Jackson's show. I've always had a criticism concerning the cosmetics MJ impersonators go through to make their faces look like Michael's. I've always strayed from using cosmetics on myself as a performer, because I've always viewed it as a form of blackfacing. But I knew I was in a minority on this view, and I wanted to get some opinions from the black community, if they agree with me on this. I know of one person that understands my perspective and agrees to an extent. But going off my poll that I posted on my community tab here, everyone unanimously says they're fine with it. They don't view it as a form of blackfacing. So I'm apparently alone on this opinion. And you know, one thing I like to do with myself as a free thinker is I constantly assess my views on things, and this is one of them. And sometimes I change my views on things, sometimes they stay the same. So I still feel I'm sort of right on it being a form of blackfacing, but considering the fact that the people that it would affect, which is the black community, if it were a form of blackfacing, don't seem to see it as that, I think that maybe this is just a me issue and not a social issue. So, with that being said, having seen these shows, I may consider trying out some cosmetics on myself, because after going to these shows, and especially now that I can't perform on YouTube anymore, I'm strongly considering maybe trying to pursue impersonation as a career myself. Whether or not it actually happens is another story. There's a problem with this route though. Most of my outfits are old, worn out, and so they need replaced. Other outfits are perfectly fine, but I've gotten buffier because of my job. I do a lot of heavy lifting at my job every day. So now I have to take into account that I have to resize myself for wardrobes. I have to reinvest in wardrobes. It's a lot of money, a lot of resources. Furthermore, I have to somehow get recognized as potential, look out for openings of these sorts of things. So it's a long shot if it actually happens. I'm just know that I'm considering it. But another reason I strayed from cosmetics is also because I think most impersonators put more work into the appearance than they do in the performance. And considering my criticisms on Santana Jackson's show, which is he had a lot of energy on the first 2 tracks, but after that he had very little energy, it didn't change my mind on that assertion at all. It only made my view on that even stronger. Here's the thing. The audience will forget that you have a face if your performance is good enough. However, if your appearance is perfect, like if they can't tell the difference, they still don't forget that you have legs, and they're going to pay attention. It's like Michael said. He said that he wore white socks because he wanted the audience to pay attention to his feet and not his face. They wanted their eyes at his feet. That's why he wore white socks all the time. It's the same thing here. You know, yes, the cosmetic will help with the gimmick of MJ impersonating, but if you put more work into that, just so you're subpar, if you have a subpar performance ethic, you think it'll be overlooked, you're doing a big disservice to yourself and to the audience. And that's another reason I wanted to avoid cosmetics, was because I didn't want to shorthand my performance. I think performance is more important, but that's just me. So needless to say, I'm probably gonna be looking into pursuing this as a career if I can. My daughter is old enough. I'm still young enough. I'm only 35. Only 35. And I can still go a pretty good distance when it comes to performing. I did over 50 takes of my Fade to Black video, the full performance, within 1 week. 50 takes of a 7-minute track in the span of a week. I can go a pretty good distance, I think. I'm not in as good a shape as I was years ago, but it's easy to change that. So that's where I stand. Seeing these shows has made me realize I may have missed a calling, but I think I'm still young enough to maybe try to reclaim that calling. So if I get anywhere on that, I'll certainly let you all know about it. And so I'll close off with that. So have a good holiday season, and I'll see you next time.